Hello everyone, I'm Apricot Amber and I am the Chief Food Genius at the nonprofit Food Literacy Center where we inspire kids to eat their vegetables. And today we are going to be talking about how you can get your kids cooking in the kitchen even more with a couple of great tools that are just made for kids. So, if you go to our website, foodliteracycenter.org/curriculum, you can find this handy little list of all of the tools that we recommend to get kids started in the kitchen. And today I'm going to demonstrate how to use each of these tools and show you exactly what they are for. So first, I'll just walk you through each of the tools that we have. So we have our plastic knife, which we've been using throughout the curriculum. We have measuring cups and measuring spoons. We have a juicer, and we have a couple different versions of that. We'll show you how to use each. We also have a microplane for zesting. We have a simple mason jar, and we have a box grater. So let's get cooking. All right, the first one that I'm gonna walk you through is the knife, sorry. All right, so we've talked about this knife already, but as a refresher, this is a great starter knife for kids because it's very safe and it helps them to begin practicing, their grip, their food safety, and all of that. So it's a great beginner's knife. And the best suggestion when using these knives is to use that grip that you place 2 fingers on the very end of the knife and then hold the handle. And because these aren't real knives, you do have to use a bit of a sawing motion, and when kids are sitting down, it's very hard for them to get enough strength and leverage. So have your kids stand up. I think cooking in general is easier when we're standing up because you have more motion in your arm, you get a little more strength. So you're going to use more of a sort of downward and sort of a sawing motion with this type of knife. So we'll just cut the end off of this one. So there, we're cutting the end off of our onion here. And you can see it totally goes through. It's very useful, but you do have to use a little more strength and a little more sawing than you would with a regular knife. And I'm actually gonna use our onion in our next tool that I'm gonna demonstrate. And I want half an onion for that. Or actually I'm gonna do 1/4 of an onion. So again, we're just pressing down and sort of sawing forward to get the full motion out of this particular knife. All right, I'm gonna take the little outside off of my onion here. Put him in my compost bowl beside me. And chop off the little tip here. All right. So our next tool is a really cool one. It is called a food chopper. And if you've never seen one of these before, it's so fun for kids and adults. But this is a food chopper. So it is basically, it has sort of a bottom lid, if you will, a covering. So you take that off and you will see that inside there is a blade and there's a little pump on the top, and that brings the blade out and down. So this is a great one because chopping an onion with one of these knives will make you cry. So we like to use the food chopper because you can get a smaller dice. Kids also tend to not be able to chop very fine, even if they have a real knife. They're so protective of their little fingers that they tend to make a lot of really big chunks. And depending on what you're making, you might want a finer dice for things like an onion or garlic. So I'll show you the magic of the little food chopper here. So I already chopped my onion into a little bit of a smaller piece. So I 1/4 my onion. And so now you'll see the food chopper sits right down on top of it real easily. And then you can just literally this is all you're doing over and over again. Sometimes it gets caught in there. And then adults, you can take your hands to help get it out. So we're just reaching inside there. That does happen. But then you end up with smaller chunks. And then we chop it some more. And you're just going to keep doing that until you have smaller and smaller pieces. And so it's really fun for kids. It takes them a while, but they don't mind because it's fun to play with. So it's a great, great fun tool. See, you just reach in and boop, all your pieces come out. So it's a great way to do things like onion and garlic, which are otherwise, really kind of hard for kids to get in little small pieces. So our garlic, I'll just do a quick demo of that. See how nice and small of a dice I get pretty quickly. So we love to use that one with the kids, and it does have that nice safety cap. And this particular brand, we can take the blade out and the bottom part, run those through the dishwasher, and then we just hand wash the rest. So nice, easy, fun tool for kids. I'm going to just put all of these back in my little compost bowl, keep my station clean. That's another big tip while you're cooking with kids, teaching them good, clean food safety practices. All right, so now we have a clean cutting board, and we are going to show you our measuring spoons and our measuring cup. So, if they're colorful, they're always more fun. So here's a nice set. And we also like the type that can go through the dishwasher over and over again, and you can still read the measuring amounts, because we've had some of these where, like this, the amount is sort of embedded in the plastic, and other times you get them where they're sort of painted on, and after a few runs in the dishwasher you can no longer find the numbers, and it's really hard for kids. They definitely don't have them memorized the way we adults do, so then we write them with a Sharpie over and over again. So try to find the kind that that number is embedded, and that's why we also like the metal measuring spoons, because the wording is embedded right into the measuring spoon. Makes it a lot easier for the kids to find. So the fun thing about measuring for kids is it occupies them. They love to count, and they love learning their fractions. So and I'll just give kids a tip. Whatever number is on the bottom, so if you got 1/3 or 1/4, that's how many of these it takes to make up the big one that just says number 1. So this one says 1/4, and this one says 1. So the number on the bottom tells me how many I need of these in order to make a 1. So say your 1 is dirty, you could still measure 1 cup by using 4 of the 1/4 cup, because this is 1/4 of the size of the 1 cup. And the same with the 1/2 cup. How many do you think from the 1/2 cup it would take to make 1 cup? You can tell by the number on the bottom. Yeah, 2 of those would make 1 cup. So if I measured with my 1/4 cup, 1, count with me, 2, 3, still not full. I need 4 of those to make a full cup. So that's the fun thing about measuring and measuring cups. You can have all kinds of fun with those. And the same thing with a measuring spoon. I'm going to take my garlic out of here and use this little guy. So the same thing with a measuring spoon. Measuring spoons are funny though, because they also have a fun one. We've got a 1/4, again the 1/4. So how many of those does it take to make 1 teaspoon? And you've got to pay attention to the words on the measuring spoons, because there's teaspoon, half a teaspoon, and a quarter teaspoon, but then there's also tablespoon, the big one. So that one's very different, and that one stands alone. But the quarter and the half teaspoon are also a teaspoon. So if I wanted to make 1 teaspoon of something, I could take the number on the bottom and use this tiny one, the 1/4. So 4 of those would give me 1 teaspoon. But another fun trick is that 1 tablespoon, you can use 4 of those, this is really tricky math, and get a 1/4 cup. So let's try that. I'm gonna take my tablespoon, not my teaspoon, count 4 with me. I'm gonna measure into my 1/4 cup. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I got a full 1/4 cup with my tablespoon. So that's the fun math stuff that you can do with your teaspoons and your tablespoons. The next thing that we have for kids to use is just a simple mason jar. Now, you could use a whisk and a bowl. Super fun also, kids love those. But the thing that we like about measuring into a mason jar, you may remember a couple of lessons back, we made a ranch popcorn seasoning, and I made it right in this mason jar. It's the very same one. And of course, I only used a little bit of my seasoning on my ranch popcorn, and here it has kept nice and safe and food stable in my mason jar, because we put all the ingredients in here, we shook them all together to mix them, and then I can just pop this on the cupboard and pull it down anytime I need ranch seasoning. So this is a great one. Or if you're mixing salad dressings, same thing. You can mix all the ingredients. It's nice, it stays cleaner, so then you have less to clean up afterwards. And then you just pop that right into your fridge. I personally use this method at home. I made some ranch dressing with my ranch seasoning to make a salad over the weekend, and I made a big jar of it and I put it right in my fridge so that I can grab out of it at any time. So this is a really fun one that sort of replaces your whisk and bowl, but it's a great one for kids. Our next tool, which is another fun one, is actually let me go with the microplane first, because we're gonna start playing with citrus. So our microplane, these are so amazing. They have this nice plastic covering to keep them safe and keep fingers safe, and these make zest. And if you are not cooking with zest, you are missing out, because it is my favorite thing to add flavor to everything. It just brightens every dish. So I will add the zest of citrus to things that I'm baking. I'll add it to popcorn with my ranch. I might add a bit of lime or lemon zest to just brighten and heighten the flavor. You could add it to salad dressings. You could add it into rice to bring it to life. I put orange zest on my oatmeal every morning. There's so many ways that you can stretch a food item like your orange and make use of the outside of it as well as the inside. So when we're making our orange zest, you're literally just, kids, I often will just place my zester on top of my bowl, then it's nice and stable, and then you just rub the outside of the orange across, and you'll see as I'm doing that, it's falling right into my dish. And then also, you're gonna end up with a bunch of zest on the back of your zester, and I just take my pinky and run it along the inside. You don't want to do this with your hands on the grating side, but the back side, you can run your finger down there and get all the rest of the zest out of there. So this is one of my most favorite tools. It's really fun for kids, and you get this beautiful, I wish you could smell it. The instant it hits the zester, you smell orange, and it just fills the kitchen with a wonderful scent. So please start using that in everything. And believe it or not, it also has vitamin C, just like the inside of the orange. So don't skip out on using zest in your recipes. So that's our zester. And now, because I've already started with my orange, and I have onion on my plastic knife, I'm going to show you another knife that I recommend for kids. What I like about these little paring knives is that they have this nice cover on them, and that helps kids, again, begin to start thinking about food safety, and anytime you're not using your knife, it's got the cover on it. So that's why I like these knives, and they are quite sharp, so you do have to, use adult supervision. And then we're going to use our claw. We learned about that in our knife skill set. And I'm just going to cut my orange in half. Oh, it smells so good in here. All right, so next up we're going to use our citrus juicer. And I'm going to put this right back over where I had my zest. So easy. It's actually easier with a small, I'm going to use, you can use an orange. I'll show you with an orange. So you basically just set your citrus in the little sort of bowl shape, set it down in there, and then squeeze. So fun. Kids love doing this. And as you can see, we're getting lots of good juice out of that orange. Now the problem with a small tool like this for something big like an orange, and I'll show you our other juicer in a second, and I'm going to cut, this is actually a lime from my tree. I have yellow limes, they're called Bear's limes, and I'm going to use my good claw, and I'm going to cut that in half, and I'll show you the best way to actually use your juicer. You'll get the most juice out of it is to set your citrus opposite. So instead of setting it the way it seems like it would fit into the cup, you're gonna set it opposite, because then when we press down, we're not gonna miss getting any of that juice. Fun, right? Who doesn't love playing with their juicer? Oh, it smells so good. So that is this guy. Then for the bigger orange, because he doesn't quite fit all the way in here, he's just a little too big, then you also have this option. This is my grandmother's, but you can find plastic versions of these, and sometimes they have a bowl on the bottom. But this is another form of a juicer, and kids have so much fun with these. You literally just put the fruit on top, and then you press down with your hand, and the juice starts to come out. And you press, twist, and press. So much fun. Oh my gosh. Look at all that fresh juice. So good. I want to drink it right now, but I'll wait. So there's our fresh squeezed orange juice. For breakfast, we have delicious recipes. We have a recipe on our site that is just shredded cabbage, shredded carrots, and you dress it with nothing but fresh squeezed orange juice. It's a recipe that I grew up eating with my grandma, and it is so easy. It's a great one for kids to make. And speaking of shredded carrots and shredded cabbage, that brings us to our box grater. So there are lots of sides to the box grater. This one is good for things like potato or cheese. These small ones, they're real hard for kids, and I prefer the big ones. You do have to watch for, knuckles. You don't want to hurt your fingers. So I'm going to show you how we use this with our kids with something like a carrot. So snap it in half, because it's a lot easier to manage than trying to grate something really big. And again, you can put it right on top of a plate or a bowl, or you can just do it on your cutting mat. So these are nice because you can hold them very stable by just placing a hand on top. And then you just up and down, up and down, up and down. And then as your carrot gets shorter, with our kids, you know, I might, as an adult, try to go out to the very tip. We just stop and get a new carrot when we're working with kids because we always want to put safety first. But you'll see that you can use this. It goes really fast. And I'm already super close, right? That's a little bit scary. So I'll just give the kid a new carrot to use. And you get all of this super fun carrot confetti. And this is amazing to put into salads or just top your taco. Any way and every way that you can get a kid to eat a vegetable, try turning it into a little bit of confetti and sprinkling it on top. And the next thing you know, they might be eating more and more of it and adding even bigger chunks and bigger pieces to their food. But always fun for kids to use a box grater. And then our last, but certainly not least tool is our fingers. So kids are really great at this, and it occupies them for quite a long time. So parents, if you're, you have something on the stove that needs to be tended to, you need to stir it, you need to pull something out of the oven, you can keep kids occupied for quite a while by handing them a bunch of herbs and asking them to tear them into tiny pieces. So while kids can't cut super small pieces, that's where we bring in our food chopper, because with a knife, kids tend to leave really big chunks, but with their fingers, I have found that we can ask kids to tear them into the tiniest pieces, and they'll just keep tearing and tearing until you get these itty bitty pieces. So, so we have basil today, and I'm just gonna demonstrate how to use a piece of basil to tear it with your fingers. So you literally just tear. So easy. Kids love this. And by the time they're done, we usually end up with a big pile, and you'll also find them snacking on it, which is also allowed. And you'll find that they can make you a big pile of really nicely tiny herb pieces for sprinkling on spaghetti or whatever meal you're having. And another fun thing that they can use their hands to tear is lettuce. You don't always have to chop it with a knife. So they can get in there and tear it up into pieces that end up being bite-sized, and that's perfect for your salad. You can put your grated carrot, your lettuce, your ranch. You could throw that zest on top, and I feel like I have lunch ready for myself. So I hope that you will use these tips to continue cooking with us here at Food Literacy Center. Go to our website, foodliteracycenter.org/curriculum, and you can play with us in the kitchen all day. Thank you so much for joining us.